So this session is all about how you can maximize the AWS investments available to you as an APN partner. Out of this session, we're going to hopefully at least give you one takeaway where you can go back to your business and go, you know what, there is more we can be doing with AWS, there is more we can leverage. So that's the aim of the session. At the end of it, we'll have Q&A. We might do it in person or across the room. We'll see how we go at the end. So if that's not the session you're here for, sit back, enjoy the comfy chair for the next 45 minutes. So my name, Cam McNaught. I've been with AWS just under 4 years. I'm the Director of Strategy, Strategic Investments, and Global Operations for our partner business worldwide. I've been in that role for about 9 or 10 months. Before that, I ran our Asia Pacific partner and channels business for Terry Wise and team. So, what is the opportunity in front of us? How many sat through the Global Partner keynote? Let's make this interactive. Most of the room. It is clear there is a vast opportunity for all of us here. Whether you look at the 46% year-over-year growth of AWS on our Q3 results from last year, if you look at the opportunity around managed services growing twice the rate at our AWS business, you look at the Aurora adoption, 7 times growth over the last 2 years, or partner-led migrations growing at 4 times that opportunity. Or it could be some of the new areas, building AR, VR practices around Amazon Sumerian, which we launched 12 months ago. The list continues to grow of the opportunities where we can invest in you to build long-term sustainable businesses. And we're going to talk about how we do that and how you can leverage that. Because what we find is most of our APN partners are only leveraging a small fraction of what you can around investments we should be making in your businesses over the long term. So it is about creating that long-term sustainable growth business. And Terry talked about some of these partners today. We're here to work with you to bring joint value to our customers. That is our primary belief. We partner with partners who believe in customer obsession, but also it's about bringing value to your shareholders. Many of these partners that are listed here have had huge successful exits after a long sustained period of time with AWS, or they've received large investments to grow and continue to build that AWS-aligned business. Or there are partners on here that will continue to grow and actually have transitioned from being a certain type of partner to being a very different partner over the time they've been with that. And we can continue to see that. As our portfolio evolves, we expect our partner community to evolve as well. If you think over 11 years ago with the first service around S3, to some of the services like RoboMaker that we announced yesterday around robotics and helping organisations build, we're really excited about the type of partners and the focus partners are going to bring into those areas. Now, every partner goes through a journey, and we typically align these to APN tiers. But what we want to talk about today is every partner has the ability to leverage AWS investments. That's easy. You do it as you go through the tiers. As you go through the tiers, you unlock more investment. What we want to talk about is find and identify partners that have something unique, have very clear partner traits that we can accelerate that investment, accelerate that journey from what we build together, how we go to market together, how you differentiate that solution, and most importantly, how you grow that business with AWS. Because there's one thing that we're pretty confident about. The business you have today and the value you're delivering to customers today will not be the same in 3 to 5 years from now. Customers continue to expect innovation in the services that we deliver, but also innovation that partners bring to us. And so that's how we look at our investment. We want to invest in partners early. Where you've defined something, you've found that playbook where something works, and Andy talked about it at the end of Terry's keynote this morning. Once you've worked that out, you've been through the process with a customer or customer engagements, then how do you scale that? And how do you take that to as many customers, as many markets, as many geographies as you need to or want to? And so we're all about that. So our investment is very much around upfront, and that'll tailor off as your revenue grows and you create your own flywheels, you create your own momentum and funding in your business to continue to innovate. So there's a couple of areas we look at when we look at investment. Like I said, there's our standard investments to run across our programs, but for partners, we want to bring together a packaged set of those investments. Now, if we can find a partner with every one of these traits, then we're going to invest. But we don't need all of these. So I think you heard Andy talk about it today. a clear focus. Over the last 7 years, the most successful partners in our community, bar none, are those who have a clear focus. We've had many partners who started with a broad remit around their AWS partnership, but over the years they've found successful areas, they've shrunk that focus and been hugely successful. The first question I ask any partner I meet is, what are you known for? The best response? I am the best SAP migration partner. I am the best Amazon Connect integration partner. I have the most differentiated SaaS solution in the healthcare market. Those partners are very clear about their focus, very clear about what they're going after. And because there's, I got asked this question by one of our senior leaders. They said, who is our best APN partner? And there is no such thing. But who is our best APN partner who can do an SAP migration in the northeast of the US and has proven experience on that? That's very easy to answer. And so that's why we look for clear focus. It is so important because we know our investment is focused and you've committed to it. The second is, what is the creation or the value creation you're going to bring to our customer? And the vast majority of partners bring differentiated skill, an intimate understanding of the customer. You've been probably delivering to that customer or that customer segment for 10, 20. I was talking to a customer last night who've been in the market for 50 years and they're ready to pivot to AWS. So what is that value you bring in? It's very clear, it's understandable, and we can promote that through our sales force. This is the value this partner will bring to your customer base. Quality. Andy touched on this morning. Quality is critically important. We will not invest in partners who have poor quality response. Has to be the highest quality. If it's a SaaS solution, an ISV solution running on our platform, it needs to be well architected, been through well architected, through best practices leveraged, and using the best services to deliver that outcome. Or if it's an SI or managed services, a high response of customer CSAT. You'll see more and more focus on customer CSAT as we go forward, and it'll heavily pivot where we invest and why we invest in partners. Needs to be scalable. There's probably no point in investing in something that we can do once. We want something that is proven, your playbook works for it, and we can take it at scale and deliver it to as many customers as possible, and it has a sustainable roadmap. It may lead to managed services. It may lead to the second and third and fourth round of investment from us to build out that. So we want to make sure it's scalable and it's sustainable. One area we're looking for in partners where we'll disproportionately invest, and not all partners will have this, but it's where you have an existing base of business. Like that partner I was talking to last night, 50 years in one segment, they own over 40% of market share in that segment, and they've now decided now is the time to be a cloud-first company. So if you have a large existing business, you're known in that market, we would love to talk about how we, through investment in you, we can accelerate you and your customers pivot to an AWS-first engagement model. And are you in it for a committed long-term engagement? It's quite important that when we invest, we're going to invest for the long term, and as we say, we're building businesses together that will outlast ourselves. So they're the traits we're looking for. I don't want to misguide anyone. As an APN partner, you are able to leverage all the different programs. What we are looking for are partners with these traits who want to be clearly focused, have high quality, are committed, and really are looking for a transformational, scalable change through investment. So let's look at those investments and what some of those are. I picked a list of the ones out of here. Sometimes they're investments that you may not have heard of. Sometimes they're misunderstood. And some of these, I think, are the biggest impact once you understand how to leverage them into the business. Now, we break these down into three. Very simple. We don't try and make it too hard. Build, market, and sell. That's how we typically group our investments. And the best investments is when we group them together across those three focus areas. So the first one is build. How do we help you build that initial business? Now, what we've launched over the last 12 months, and I think Terry touched on it this morning, is the AWS Navigate program. You may want to work at pace, and maybe we just are not working fast enough with you. This is a great case. This is prescriptive guidance on how to build an AWS practice. There's now 12 different disciplines in here, and we're going to continue to add to that. We added 3 more today. IoT, DevOps were 2 of those. But this is where you may want to build a practice around FSI. You may want to build a practice around database, DevOps, serverless, prescriptive guidance to build, and so you can go and build that foundation without us. Really great self-service capability. Training and certification. I think for as long as I've been here and for as long as I've seen our business talk, it's a foundational element. We talk about it. We just completed a study with Gartner, and we're going to publish those statistics, but we know it improves quality of your delivery solution. Trained and certified organisations reduce their sales cycle and reduce their implementation time over their competition with the more certified people, and in particular, the more professional certified staff you have. It is so important. Professional services. Who in the room has leveraged our professional services organisation to help build something in your organisation? Anyone? One? This is a massive capability. So we have a professional services organisation globally. We have thousands of free investment days where our professional services teams can come in and help you in a vast array of engagements. They can help build go-to-market strategies with you. They can help train and develop your teams in specialist areas that we may have just launched, or you want to go very deep in and you want, or you may want access to our IP, our documentation, how we deliver professional services. That can be delivered and handed to you through our professional services team. So the program is called Supercharge. Make sure you ask the AWS team about it. A great resource where you can leverage ProServe to help you build your go-to-market solution with or on AWS. SaaS factories, we talked about it this morning in the keynote. We're going to triple the size of this team. If you're looking to build a solution on AWS, it's going to be SaaS or cloud native. This is a team of business and technical professionals who can help you build that out. The go-to person, partner manager or partner representative, your partner development manager or partner development representative is your go-to person. If you're not engaged with them, find out who they are. I've got my email at the end of the session. I'll find them for you if you don't know who they are. They are the ones to unlock this investment, to help you build your practice. There's a whole reason for their name, partner development manager, partner development representative. They're here to help you build an AWS-centric business. And finally, our partner solution architects are very much around a technical knowledge transfer. So leverage these. Some of these are highly leveraged. We continue to train tens of thousands of partner staffs, but some areas are less leveraged. Example is the professional services supercharge program. Thousands of days that you can leverage to bring into your business. So let's talk about market. It's probably, after I ask a partner, what do you want to be known for? The second question they say, how are you going to help me grow my pipeline? That's probably the first question I get is, how are you going to help me grow our pipeline? And look, we're continuing to drive focus in this area. I would say we're continuing to catch up to your expectations. Last year, we did tens of thousands of opportunities we passed to partners. This year will be hundreds of thousands of opportunities we're passing to partners. But how do we help you market yourself? There are two clear programs that will help you stand above the tens of thousands of partners that are out there. The first one is the APN Competency Program. It's very selective. You would have seen today when we launched another competency, there's only a few partners in it. And these competencies grow, but we're encouraging our customers and our field teams to leverage competency partners first and foremost into engagements. It really becomes that first filter that an AWS rep or a customer is encouraged to use to select a partner. Secondly, service delivery program. If you're focused on specific services, then you'll be known as a service delivery partner. The solution space, a really interesting new development that we launched this year. It's where you can promote and publish your in-a-box solutions. You know, there's 100+ solutions on there today. 100,000 customers have access to solution space. If you don't know about it, let's get connected, get your out-of-the-box solutions published on that. And we do have marketing development funds. It is something we spend millions of dollars investing in partners to help you grow your top of funnel, grow your demand generation, whether it's webinars, whether it's customer events, whether it's all about creating demand, and we'll leverage that and invest in that, especially if it's a clear focus delivering a valued outcome for the customer. And there are another set of Partner Solution Finder, Marketing Central, self-service areas where you can draw down and promote your services. Now, finally, section I want to talk about is sell. Probably the most important, once we've done all this work around building and marketing, how we're going to sell together. Now, there's a couple of things, share some insights here. That third question we normally get when we meet with a partner is, how are you going to get your reps to sell my solution? Or how are you going to get your reps to take my solution? Or where am I going to get the leads from your reps? That is nirvana. We certainly want all that. But there are other paths. We want to invest in partners who can also create what we call partner-led business, where you can bring business to AWS. And we will, again, disproportionately invest in partners who want to bring business to AWS. Yes, it should be a fair share of the pie, and we should be bringing business to you, and we have a large program around Opportunity Pass, and that's part of the APN Customer Engagements program called ACE. And this is where you register deals, but we also pass opportunities to partners there. It's quite important. Partner Success Manager. Who has or has worked with a partner success manager or partner sales manager? You may have heard it referred to. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's a better uptake. The partner success manager will double this role in our field globally this year. We had the partner development managers and we've had them from day one. But then what we realised over the last 18, 24 months is it's great to have all these builders who are helping you build practices. Who's helping you sell? Who's helping you get engaged in every single customer opportunity? And you heard Terry talk about it today. In almost all geographies, we have close to 50% of our partners have one or more partners in our enterprise deals. And this is the role of the Partner Success Manager. And this is where we're seeing a 3.5 times increase in opportunity size for those partners. So a Partner Success Manager is purely gold on introducing partners into customer opportunities and getting more partners into customer opportunity. That is their gold on. They're not gold on any specific partner. They're just gold on getting the right partner into that solution. And what do they look at? They look at the quality. How well is the partner delivered? Are they the right fit for that partner? Are they a competency or service delivery partner? All those things I talked about is how they base their recommendations into the AWS sales reps and into the customers. So you'll see more and more of these partner success managers. The big nuance about these is you have your partner development manager or partner development reps who are typically located within your geographical area. The partner success managers are in the vast majority of the cities we operate in, and so they're the landing point for you as you expand your businesses across your different geographic focus areas. So get engaged with the partner success manager. Your partner development manager or partner development rep should be introducing you to partner success managers. The big thing about the first two things, the customer engagement program and the partner success managers, is they open up access for funding. So you can leverage funding to accelerate deals. So if you're looking at migrations, if you're looking at Windows workloads, these guys can help you draw in funding to help remove some of the customer objections. The customer may not have budget at that time. And we typically try and apply this funding in that early stage of our partnership, so we can help you get through those lighthouse wins, get those reference wins, help you build that business, because reference selling is much easier than any other form of selling. To help you win those first set of reference customers, we'll overinvest in helping make those solutions come through. I touched on this. As you would have seen around April this year, we rolled out a customer satisfaction program. I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to pass on those customer sat surveys to your customers and get feedback into the system. It is one of the key measures of how we recommend who we should partner with into certain opportunities. Customer satisfaction is super important. You heard about Marketplace today. And finally, professional services again. You can use, and we have these thousands of days worth of investment that you can use around doing delivery audits or doing reviews of your solutions before you take them back to the customer. Or you can use ProServe to augment your workforce to deliver a different outcome. Or you want more you may have a gap in specialization for a certain opportunity. We can invest ProServe into that team so then you can pass it through and deliver the outcome for your customer. So super useful. But as I said, to wrap up this section, it's all good. Each one of those different initiatives or programs are accessible. What we want to do is help you frame those together into a set of investments across those three groups to deliver an outcome. So this is an example. I have a service incubation team who's really about accelerating service adoption by technology partners or consulting partners to take a new service. So earlier in the year, we sat down and we said, let's go and build a set of focused Amazon Redshift partners. So we grabbed our ProServes team. They built a boot camp for us. They took their internal area of depth training. They packaged it up for partners. We went out and picked 6 partners. They invested up to 5 plus people, and we had them train for a week. They ran through training and certification, and they built this foundation of skill, and we invested that totally. Then we took our investment and we helped them each build at least one go-to-market solution around Amazon Redshift. Some built assessments, some built managed services practices, some built migration services, and some created automation of their existing Amazon Redshift services. And we took that investment, and then we invested them to build a funnel, build a pipeline. And now those partners are listed in the first call deck for every single Amazon Redshift presentation our reps will do. Now we've added another 5 out of Europe, we're adding more out of APAC, and we'll continue to grow that. But that's an example of how we've created a build and market. And now we're selling together. We've basically got them registering every single deal so we get visibility, so we see a return on our investment, we're sharing that back to them. We have them, they have easy access to proof of concept funding to win those first 5, 10, 15, 20 deals on those solutions we built together. They're highly engaged with our partner success managers because they're focused. They have built a Redshift practice and they're going after Redshift workloads onto AWS. And we track that on a weekly pipeline. But we can do that for each and every partner. We can put a package together like that as long as we have a very clear, singular focus of what we're going after. What do we want to achieve? What value we want to deliver to a customer? And we'll invest in partners all day, every day to achieve that kind of outcome. But as we say, it's always better to hear from our customers and partners. So what we're going to do now is have a Q&A session with 2 of our partners who have been with us for quite some time, who have leveraged their investment to build long-term sustainable businesses with AWS. And so with that, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Paul McClure from UltraServe and Paul Vian from Apps Associates to join me. Welcome, guys. All right. So we've got 2 Australians and a Brit. So
it's all about the cricket.
It is exactly.
A guy walked into a bar. No.
So guys, let's start with, I talked about joint value and the value you bring customers. Why don't we start with, what is the value proposition? Talk about your company and then the value you're bringing to customers today in your current iterations of your partnership with AWS. Maybe Paul, perhaps?
Sure. Yeah, so as you said, Cam, Apps Associates has been a long-term partner. I've actually been with Apps for 6 months, so I'm fairly new to the AWS ecosystem, so I can give you some of that as well. Yep. You talked about expertise. For us, it's Oracle, and that is a clear focus for the organization. If you think back, founded in 2002 by Oracle practitioners, looking at moving Oracle workloads, implementing them, managing them, and then also focusing on the integration part, getting those workloads across. And now the big strategy for the organization, which is mostly for the reason we're here today, is getting them on the cloud.
Yep. Awesome. And I saw this week you guys put an announcement out. Maybe talk about a little bit around your strategic.
Yeah, so it's really twofold. As I said, we've been a partner since 2012, and you could argue that's early cloud adoption. We listen to our customers. We want to get Oracle applications to the cloud. And we tried it, and we were the first company to actually do a successful e-business suite to the cloud, to AWS cloud. And from there, it really evolved. And we see such a tremendous opportunity out there in the market that this year, we've decided to double down with you guys, which is exciting news. We've signed a strategic collaboration agreement, and the press release came out yesterday. And we've committed to some pretty aggressive numbers with you guys. But again, if I talk about the size of the pie that's out there, just looking at e-business suite alone, I'm picking on that application, there's 15,000 customers still sitting on premise today. And that has got to be the big focus that we're both investing in to get those customers on that journey to the cloud.
Awesome. And for us, the reason we created this strategic collaboration with Apps Associates, it was all those traits I talked about. Here is a company who has now had a very clear focus around getting Oracle applications on AWS. We know there's a huge opportunity. They had done it successfully time and time again, so now was the time to invest and to scale. So that's about getting that repeatable scale playbook, and it was done at high quality. And for me, when we talk about pivot an existing business, 15,000 workloads out there to do. So awesome. Paul, sorry, we got Paul and Paul, but we'll go for it. So Paul, if you look at UltraServe, maybe talk about where you guys are at today, where on the partnership and the value you bring into customers.
Yeah, so we are a platform as a service provider. We've built our PaaS offering exclusively on AWS, and where we really differentiate ourselves as a company, we are 100% focused in the digital commerce space. So the key value we add to organizations is, typically, and if even the Gartner Magic Quadrant will tell you things like this, the top tier e-commerce projects will typically take between 9 and 12 months, to deliver. That market is actually moving to the cloud at about a 20% CAGR, a 20% clip each year. And organizations are looking for agility and speed to get their commerce presence in the market and be able to differentiate from their competition, but also transact business. So we've gone through a journey with AWS where actually traditionally our company was founded back in 2000 as a complex managed hosting provider in the similar realm to a Rackspace kind of business. And we existed in that sense up until about 2013 when we became a partner with AWS, and we've actually pivoted our entire business to AWS centric, so all in on AWS and digital commerce focus. We've also evolved from a services business through managed services iterations to a platform as a service business, and we're on that journey to a pure play SaaS offering built on AWS. So that's how we build in scale, and that's how we continue to grow. One other key factor for our organisation is we were founded in Sydney, Australia, but we had ambitions to take the organisation globally, and we knew that with partnering with AWS, we can consistently deploy our PaaS offering in any AWS region globally, and we've supported a global customer base initially out of Australia and then expanded into the North American and European markets off the back of that.
Awesome. So when you talk about that journey as you've gone through it, from complex hosting provider, managed service provider, now through to, what we'll probably say a technology partner and providing that platform, what were the investments you had to do? Because you certainly went from a very broad scope to now, what I'd say an extremely focused scope. Yep. What did you do to build scale and to get to that point? Yeah,
I think that's a really good point. We were what I like to call in the your mess for less kind of business in the past. We would take on any workload on any system on any platform. So how we built scale into the business is twofold. We've got actually a lot of multinational global customers who have extremely complex requirements, and that was kind of where we would innovate and build, but we had the discipline, and I guess to your point, that we took that, we standardized it, and we productized that so we could make it repeatable every single time. And it's given us the ability to service more regions and more customers with the same amount of people and really expand that business. And to give you an order of magnitude, our largest customer, and this is part of that sort of global story, we started off with about a $10,000 a month contract with this organization, actually delivering their services for them out of Brazil. And now they spend about $500,000 a month with our organization, and we're currently servicing 20 plus countries and responsible for about $4.5 billion in revenue that they transact on our platform. So that growth and that scale has come with not throwing just heaps more people at it to solve the problem. It's come through innovation and technology that we've built on AWS.
Yeah, it's one, and I'll ask you the same question, Paul. It's one of the areas we look for. Will this investment, I talk about that scale and sustainable, will it scale? And one way to scale is high automation, taking the repeatability out and taking that down. So you reduce the cost, you're giving more value back to the customer for the dollar they spend. So we look for that. Another great example, there's a partner here in the US West called nClouds. Well architected, and we announced it today, the well architected program for partners, where we can go in and nearly 70% of engagements lead on to follow work just by doing that assessment. So they've built this great tool called NOps, which really automates the well-architected process. Now they can scale that to not just tens of customers, hundreds and now thousands of customers. They can go in because they know this is a process that can bring them more work because it identifies opportunity and insight there. So we love the opportunity, whether we're automating at a technical level or a technology level, or we're automating with people and process, and how can we invest in you through bringing transfer of knowledge, through cash credits investment to drive automation and scale. So automation's such a key part of that. Did you want to touch on that, Paul, as you guys have done more and more of these?
We've certainly automated as we've got better at this. Right? Yeah. Remember, we did the first one in 2012, so scripting, automating, even through to POCs, when we get through the very beginning part of the sales cycle, a lot of that can be scripted. And I was listening to what you said earlier. I mean, the key thing for us, we know what our expertise is. We know how to focus on that. We have the staff and the resource to do it. We actually started off focused. Then we became broad, quickly realized that was a mistake. We got romanced, we got our head turned, a bit like you said, can you do big data? Can you do whatever the application might be? And we regrouped very quickly and realized that we have to stay on point. And then, as I said, through that years, we've just realized how you can automate some of this process to talk to customers and to get those applications moved across quickly.
Awesome.
I'd add to that as well, and I guess as part of that process, because we made that investment in building and productizing this offering, and leveraging our relationship with AWS, in the digital commerce world, you see lots of projects, as I mentioned earlier, will go for 9 to 12 months and not get a business outcome. We've come in competitive situations where customers are over time, over budget, and literally leveraging AWS credits to offset the cost to the customer. We've been able to prove in a matter of days that we can stand up this platform and make it work. In fact, one organisation who with an annual commerce budget of $80 million a year had spent 9 months and wasn't able to get their application to production, and we literally had them from contract signed to live in 11 days. And it's all through that productization and automation. And it was leveraging the AWS credits and really just saying to the customer, we'll prove it to you, we'll demonstrate it to you and show you how this can work. And that earned their trust so that we could, basically go and pursue contractual negotiations with them.
Awesome. I'll come back to you around some of that, but maybe touch on, I talked about some of those investment frameworks we have there. What has apps used and where have you used it successfully, either with customer engagements or building out scale in your business?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the probably biggest challenge that we have is attracting those customers to think that they can get Oracle from on-premise to the cloud, specifically a third-party cloud like AWS. And there's a lot of FUD out there at the moment about licensing, ongoing support. Can we move Oracle to AWS? So it's great to have the competencies, which we carry. We're a premier consulting partner, and we have the Oracle and the Migrate and the MSP. So that's all great to boast those badges, but you need to show examples. So we invest in case studies, we do webinars. Again, all of that is fantastic, but the investment that we're making and using things like the acceleration funding, market development funding, is to get the assessments, the initial assessments, the due diligence, can I actually do this? And then the POC. I'll give you an example of a customer that we had called Integer. And Integer started off, they had all on-premise in a third-party data center, 2 locations, e-business suite across 5 countries. And they were coming up towards the end of their contract, and the data center provider said, well, look, we'll sign you up another 3 years and we'll increase your cost. So they decided that wasn't a great option. They came to us and said, can you help us get this to the cloud? Can we optimize on new equipment? Can we save costs? Can this be scalable? So we used the POC and we used funding towards the POC. We used the calculator to process that through. It was one non-production environment of Oracle on AWS. It was a 4-week POC, and at the end of it had run so successfully that they decided to migrate the whole production environment. And we did that within a couple of months, and the customer ended up saving north of 50%.
Oh, wow.
So they were looking initially at a cost increase, and then they ended up saving 50%. And for us, the key part to get that customer over that initial hump, along with all the great stuff that we tell them with the badges, is POCs and assessments and the funding.
Awesome. And Paul, how you've leveraged investments?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things. One of them is we, with the emergence of technologies like Aurora database as an example, we recognized very early on that one of the things, 50% of the commerce market is still on premise today, or on premises. And one of the key things that was anchoring them there was these big enterprise agreements to, Oracle, SQL, other kinds of technologies. And one of the challenges that we had in trying to leverage Aurora initially was the fact that it wasn't certified by SAP for use with their particular technology. So we actually work with AWS. They were able to use their relationship with SAP to actually get it to the table to drive the certification, and then used a bunch of credits and funding to go and do that. So now we've basically programmatically, when all of the new versions of SAP Hybris and Aurora are released, we have a certification program that SAP signs off on. That means all of their customers now can leverage that investment. So working together on that was very significant. Other examples just around the POC funding, we actually had what you might call a competitive cross-grade kind of situation where customers deployed in actually a vendor's cloud. So a lot of our vendor partners are also our biggest competitors in our space, deployed in the vendor's cloud. They're in the pharmaceuticals industry, so the HIPAA compliance team had come in to do their HIPAA audits, and unfortunately they failed their audits, and mostly around data center and access and all of those kind of things. So again, we leveraged credits from AWS, and we were able to prove to the customer that not only could we stand up this environment initially at no cost to them, but their audit teams could come back in, it passed HIPAA compliance, and then we were able to re-platform them all to AWS, and they're a massive long-standing customer of ours. So those kind of investments are really critical when you've justified a spend over here that now you have to backtrack. It's really difficult to get access to budget, and being able to leverage those credits and earn the trust of the customer, I think, is really important.
Awesome. So guys, any final thoughts? Partnerships with AWS, what's worked well, in particular around how you've leveraged investments? Any final thoughts you want to share with your peers here?
I would just add that, the 6 months I've been in this ecosystem, I'm very conscious that sitting around the table when you're working with PSMs, the PDMs, the AWS sellers, that you have to really drive a call to action with these people. They've got 150 plus of their own services to sell. They've got many partners knocking on the door saying, we do the greatest thing here, and you should come and sell with us because we're fantastic. And I was just listening to you on stage there where, we're all expecting opportunities to come to us because AWS has such a big brand and you're involved in so many accounts. But I've really learned in these 6 months that you have to find a way to be creative to bring them into your opportunities. Mm-hmm. You have to. It's not enough just to have the certifications and the badges and everything else and to say that you're great. You really have to get that trust early. And if you can assign some resource to it, adding a call to action, the follow-up is absolutely critical. And I've watched it over the last 6 months, and it just starts to come back at you. And then you get that lead reciprocation. And it's I just can't stress that enough. And the PSM engagement, to the point that you mentioned earlier, to me, I look at that as access to 20 sellers or 30 sellers rather than going by each one. Now, forming those relationships with each of those people is really important. But if you can work with the PSM and that PSM truly sees the value, and you have those calls to actions and the follow-ups and the POCs and all of that good stuff, then you'll find that you're unlocking each and every one of those partnerships with the local sellers.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, I'd certainly echo your comments, maybe to give some, some more additional answers on a different path. Case studies and referenceability, and I'd say both externally and as importantly internally to AWS. So things like win wires and various other things that don't necessarily get published. We've got some customers who by policy don't allow public references of their organizations, but we are allowed to publish internally at AWS. And for us, becoming known as a go-to partner for digital commerce workloads on AWS has been very significant. And when you've got those customer testimonials, those win wires, the case studies available, it demonstrates that you've done this before, you have been successful. So that's one piece. The other thing, and I would say this is a lesson that we learned the hard way. We're a very engineering-centric organization, and that's very synergistic, I would say, with AWS. We're builders. We build on that platform. But like a lot of organizations who come with a very engineering-centric culture, we think we can build everything better than everybody else. And I think there's been periods of time where we've almost gone and reinvented the wheel, and having not been as open and forthcoming with AWS about here's where we're headed, here's what we're doing, and understanding what AWS is already working on, and their ability to innovate and innovate at pace is unbelievable. So we actually anchored ourselves to, we almost reinvented, this was in our previous generation of the platform, we fixed it in the current generation, but we almost reinvented how auto-scaling for, in this case, SAP Hybris workloads worked on the AWS platform. And in the time it took us to build it, AWS had already fixed the components that we went and built ourselves and engineered ourselves into a corner, and we end up re-platforming away from that. So with much more communication about this is where we're headed, this is where we're trying to get to, and it's almost, AWS will come back to us and say, don't you guys build that, we're doing this, you go and focus on these pieces here, and that's allowed us to really increase our sprints and our development cycles and get differentiated offerings out the door significantly faster.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, thank you. Paul and Paul, I really appreciate really genuine, strong partnerships that we'll continue to invest in. So thanks for your time and your insights. Appreciate it. Cheers. Like I said, if you looked at that partner traits, these two organisations embody every single one of those, from a very clear focused, high quality of delivery, committed for the long term, had a customer base and a segment of the market that was ready to move, and it's been an absolute pleasure partnering with them over the time we've been that. So to finish off, quick call to action, getting connected with your partner development manager or your partner development rep. Connect with them. They are the access to unlocking the investment that we can do for you. If you don't know who they are, reach back out to your AWS colleagues. If that doesn't work, email me. My email's on the next slide. I'll get you connected, because it's extremely important that you know who they are and they can help. The best thing is to challenge them too. Challenge them, because they may not know the depth and breadth of investment. So what you've heard here today, my key hope is you've been able to take one thing that you go, I'm going to go and get that and I'm going to leverage that into my business. Develop a focused scope of the partnership you want to have with us. It's so much easier when you sit down with us and you go, I want to do this in this market, in this time frame, and then we can get together very quickly and put the full force of the AWS and the APN behind you to be successful. That clear scope, we can have a 60-minute meeting here at reInvent or any time, but if it starts with, I'm going to be the best AWS partner, you've got to believe me and invest in that, it just doesn't work. What is your track record? What are you bringing? Is it customer intimacy? Is it skill? Is it experience? What are you bringing that we can help you scale that? That's where we invest and we can do more. But in the meantime, build a foundation, training and certification. I cannot tell you how important it is to have trained skill. I think Andy talked about today. When you have that focus, it's important, but make sure you can go deep, extremely deep, and be the best at it and be the strongest at it, and that will resonate more than anything with our customer if you've got a strong foundation and a depth of skill on that. So with that, I want to thank you for your time. We've left time for Q&A. If anyone's got any questions, we can take it as an open room, or we can stay here with the Apps Associates, UltraServe team and my team and answer the questions one-on-one in the next 10 or so minutes we have here. But again, thank you for your time. There's my email address, cammc@amazon.com. Feel free to email. The one thing you should challenge both our teams about is if we don't have a program or investment framework that meets what you're looking for, challenge us on it. And we should be able to help construct something. There was one thing earlier on in the stage, we didn't do a lot of investment around assessments. Well, some of the works we did with both UltraServe and Apps Associates realised that assessments are a clear vehicle for investment. So challenge us. We'll continue to iterate and innovate on how we invest in you to make you successful. But I look forward to catching up with you, those who want to Q&A and have a chat afterwards. But again, thank you very much for your time. Greatly appreciate it.